Hey, what's up, YouTube? Tom here, Birds Blades. So today I have a long-term review for the Leatherman Arc, and it's going to be kind of broke up into two parts. On the left here, you have a sort of a hard use example, and then on the right here, you have like a weekend warrior, I guess, sort of example. So like, I guess, I don't know, blue collar office job sort of situation going on here. So we're going to set that one aside for now. Take a peek at this one, and for full transparency, these are not my original Leatherman Arcs. I was fortunate enough to buy a Leatherman Arc on the first drop, and I was super stoked. I love the tool. I was just fired up on it. Great tool, MagnaCut steel. You got the free technology. You got all these outside tools, the bit exchanger. Just a great tool on paper. I bring it to work, and the thing just fell apart. So I was a little bit bummed out, but I was like, all right, whatever, not the end of the world. I took it apart. I used some of the tools for modifying Leatherman Free P2, and then I actually went out and I bought two brand new Leatherman Arcs. And this would have been, when I bought these, it would have been early to mid-December of last year of 2024. So these things are actually fairly, I don't want to say new, but they're not exactly old at this point. But I'm just doing a review update on kind of how they held up, the weak spots on them, and what I like and don't like. So what I kind of have mixed emotions about here would be the MagnaCut steel blade. As a hard use tool, I actually don't like it, because you can see this thing is as dull as, like, it's no different than like the back. It's completely dull. Yeah, you can sharpen it up and get it back to a nice sharp edge, but the problem I've been having is this stuff does not hold an edge. It is so, it's brutal. Like, and it's not MagnaCut. MagnaCut's phenomenal. I carry this Benchmade 710. This is in MagnaCut, and I absolutely abuse this knife, and it still has a very sharp edge. So it's not MagnaCut. MagnaCut is a fantastic steel. It's just Leatherman's heat treat on this one in particular, I guess, was pretty questionable, I'll say. Leatherman claims that their heat treat is from 60 to 63 HRC, and they're probably right. I feel like this one might have just been kind of an outlier, so I have mixed emotions. Moving on, can opener, personally, I don't like it. I never use it. Bit adapter, bit exchanger. I love this thing. This thing is such a lifesaver. I use my ratchet driver, which I have right here and here all the time, use it all the time. And this one actually held up really good. My first Leatherman Arc, I bent this pivot so bad that it didn't, like this thing didn't lock. It just kind of flopped around like that. But this one actually held up pretty good, so I'm happy about that. Moving on to the saw. This is the tool that made me appreciate Leatherman saws. Up until this point, I never really liked Leatherman saws, but I actually use this thing all the time, and I'm really beginning to like it. Great saw. And all these tools lock up really good and have, well, the only thing that actually has play is the blade, and it's very minimal, so I won't even count it. Really happy with that side of the handle. Moving on over here, you got your scissors, which, there you go. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. They don't really cut anything. So, sort of useless on this tool anyway. I think the issue is they just kind of got too gummed up with rust and metal shavings and whatever, so then things just kind of quit being. The awl, I use that as a scribe for marking for where I got a cut on metal or whatever. micro bit driver. I use that thing all the time. Held up great. Really useful. Lockup is really good. The pry bar here thing is fantastic. I love this thing. This pry bar is great. I use it all the time. And this one actually locks up really, really solid. Actually, it locks up better than this one, which is kind of weird because I was harder on this tool than I was that one. But yeah, that pry bar held up a lot better. And then you have your file. It's a good file. I use this thing a lot. The diamond coating has not wore off yet. You can see. And then other than that. So like, I don't know. All the handle tools, really, I don't have much of a complaint about, if any at all, actually, except for maybe the scissors. But that's just on this example. So that's all great. Moving on to the pliers. This is why I'm making this video. Pliers don't work. And this is the exact same thing that happened on my original Leatherman Arc that I had. I broke off this little ear here. I think on my original Leatherman Arc too, I actually ended up breaking this like spacer in there too. So this one actually fared a little bit better. Honestly, it didn't fall apart quite as bad, but that makes sense because I was a little bit nicer to this one than I was my first one. But yeah, I mean, that kind of renders your pliers useless when you only got one handle. So I don't know. That's definitely the biggest thing I don't like about the Leatherman Arc is just how weak these tabs are here. I seem to break them on all my Leatherman Arcs that I use for any like real world tasks that I need to do with them. I also broke the wire cutter. That's not a huge deal. You can just buy replacements for that and replace them, so not a big deal at all. Really, the only thing is just this handle and that little ear there. So I'm going to send this thing off to Leatherman to get it warrantied. Because this is just unfortunate. And then, honestly, when I get it back, I'm probably just going to park it in my collection and just go back to carrying my Leatherman Wave Plus or maybe a Leatherman Surge or something. I don't know. I'll figure that out when the time comes. But in the meantime, I'm going to ship this thing off to Leatherman for a warranty service and hope they take good care of me, which they should. Leatherman seems to take good care of their people, customers, I guess. So that's sort of a quick overview of the hard use Leatherman Arc. Now moving on to the more office job Leatherman Arc. This thing held up a whole lot better. I suppose I should probably do some specs on these things for you. I mean, it's middle of the video, but better late than never. So now they're coming in at $249.45 on Leatherman's website. There's 20 tools on here, including a MagnaCut steel blade with a DLC finish with a HRC of 60 to 63. Comes with a partial bit kit, nylon sheath. The closed length on these is 4.25 inches. The open length is 6.45 inches. The primary blade length is 2.76 inches. The thickness or the height is 1.3 inches. And then the thickness this way is 0.8 inches. Overall weight of this knife or multi-tool is coming in at 8.6 ounces. So there's your specs out of the way for you halfway through the video. But you can see just off of me fiddling with this thing that this one held up a heck of a lot better. and this is the one that you've seen on the channel a few times now. If you've been watching any of my other videos, this has made an appearance. I'm going to breeze through this kind of quickly because there's really not much to talk about. The blade for an office job is perfect. Like, Magna Cut, it's holding up great with doing my opening packages, cutting cardboard, cutting rope, zip ties, whatever. It's holding up good for that. My tip is getting a little bit beat up, you can see there, and a few other spots too. It's kind of starting to get beat up, but overall holding up good. Lockup on that thing is really good. Bottle opener, never use it. Bit driver, same thing with that, really good. Saw, same thing with that, really good. So like pretty much everything's going to be the same with the hard use Leatherman Arc, except for it just held up a little bit better and it's a little bit cleaner of an example, I guess. Realistically, the only difference on the handle tools is going to be that the scissors actually function like scissors on this one, and there's no rust takeovers, I guess, going on. Other than that, yeah, I guess realistically there's nothing to talk about. I don't know. It's a pair of folding pliers with a knife, a file, a saw, like scissors. I don't know. Do you need that at your desk at your office job? If you do, the Leatherman Arc is great. If you need all that as a fabricator, a welder, a carpenter, anything blue collar, the Leatherman Arc is not so great because, in my experience, every time I bring it out into the field, it comes back like that. So, I don't know. I don't mean to sound negative in this review at all. This is my experiences. Your mileage may vary, so take this whole video with a grain of salt, but yeah, that's my experiences. Anyway, if you like this video, leave a like, comment down below what you'd like to see me do next, and until next time, thanks for watching. Have a good one.